you expect quality assurance from the manufacturers. So that means there is a difference between quality, quality control, quality assurance. Now, this part of quality assurance does not come immediately unless a product has reached its, maybe it's in its product life cycle, maybe nearing to its maturity stage. So that means if I talk about the robotic system, it might not have actually reached its maturity stage in the product life cycle. So I don't know how much right it would be if I say that as on today, the quality assurance aspects in a robotic system might not be as expected as in the case of a bike or as in the case of a car. We will tell about this, that why and how quality assurance is necessary in robotic system, what stage are we as on date, and what is expected, that how much this is going to expand in the area of robotic system in the coming years. So in general, if I talk about the concepts, what we are trying to cover in this discussion session, we'll talk some basic concepts. Why system? Why robotic system? What is quality, quality control, quality assurance? What is a customer demanding from a system like a robotic system? And if I talk about the classification of robotic systems based on their fundamental principle and based on the application part. So what are those parameters for the effectiveness? What is the concern of the customer? What do the customers, what does the market expect from the robotic systems? And some brief, some idea on the ISO standards as far as robotic system is concerned. Okay. To start with, we have been talking about a system, in our engineering systems, which can of course go to any area. That's the internet that form a unified whole. The three keys that any system encompasses can be interaction, interdependence, and the integration. And I think we are all aware that a system consists of various subsystems, which can further have subsystems, the component level, whereas each component can function to fulfill the overall goals, to fulfill the global goals of the system. All these components are going from the subsystem to the subsystem to the system. So that interaction part is very important. That's why we say interaction, interdependence, and the integration. Now, based on these lines, we have many systems in practice, in examples, wherein we have been working. A lot of research has been done. It is being done, which can as simple as an automobile system. Any machine can be a system. Individual institution can be a system. Total quality management system, and on the same lines, robotic system. So when I talk about a robotic system, the sensing, the manipulation, or the locomotion. So as a robotic system, we can say that it is a system that contains sensors, that contains control system, manipulators, power supplies, and software all working together to perform a task. Now the purpose of this particular session is not to break up these into various systems and subsystems and then finding their interactions and their effectiveness leading to a common goal, because that is also another offshoot of this research that can also be done. But we are in the initial stages now. We are in the primitive stages now as far as the concept of quality assurance that has embedded in various other systems has arrived. Now every system has got some quality concerns. If I talk about an automobile, you will have various answers with you, that what are the quality concerns in an automobile. Similarly, if I talk about a robotic system, you can have various quality concerns. You can ask that is it the performance of the robot, or is it the reliability of the robot, is it the serviceability, the effectiveness of a collaborative robot or a cobot, is it the value of the money that you are getting out of a robot, or is it the fitness to use. So there are various questions that you will require to answer, because before you can say that yes, this robot is to my satisfaction or to the satisfaction of my organization. So that means that takes us to the basics or the basic dimensions of the quality, as it has been in any system that when we start the purpose of quality assurance system. And we always go back to one of the most talked about paper in the HPR, which is the Darwin's 8 dimensions of quality. Now this fundamental paper has got a lot of extensions also, but this as a fundamentally we talk that in any system or in any product, when you talk about quality, we need to ensure it has got performance, it has got features, reliability, conformance, durability, serviceability, aesthetics, and the perceived quality. Now, all these 8 dimensions of quality are globally common. You can relate them to any product in this world. I need not explain the details of this. I think all of these are quite common one, but still, if you want, I can stop on that. Okay. So even one of the papers in robotic system at the start, an approach to software quality assurance for robotic inspection system, says that the statistical quality assurance goals of the software to be used with the light duty utility arm for the reliability, usability, and maintainability. So what I want to impress upon is, if you correlate all the dimensions of the quality systems of any product or any system with the robotic system, the fundamental remains the same. So if the fundamental remains the same, why not the quality assurance aspects of any product or any system are to be applicable to the robotic system also. Okay. So this takes me to the fundamental definitions of quality. That if that is true, then I must fundamentally think about a robotic system, because whatever we have been getting is the application part. We are using it. So when I say quality, it is quality is conformance to specified requirements. Whatever are the requirements as per the it may be the dimensions, it may be the performance. So whatever are the specifications, if it is conforming to that, it is quality. Or quality can be fitness to use. If any product, be it a robot, if it is fit to be used, then it is quality. Similarly, quality is value for money. You spend so much of money, maybe lakhs of rupees, and then what are you getting out of this money? How much is the outcome? That of course is subjective concept, but yes, that is quality. Quality itself is a subjective concept, but in general, the foremost and the basic definitions as per the ISO, we say quality is totality of characteristics and features of a product or service that bear on its ability to satisfy the stated at the implied needs. Now, this fundamental definition of quality talks about the stated and the implied needs. So that's it. We are going to talk in robotic system also, that what are the stated needs and what are the implied needs in a robotic system. And of course, for everyone, quality is the customer satisfaction. If you are satisfied as a customer, it is quality, otherwise it is not. And quality is everyone's responsibility and everyone's prerogative. So if you want to take benefit out of the quality, you say it is. I'm happy with it. I am happy that I am working in an organization which has got say ISO 9000. But then responsibility also lies with all of us, not only with the quality control or the quality assurance department or the production department. Okay. Now this takes me to some points of demarcation when I talk about uh, say inspection of the robots or the concepts of quality control or the concepts of the quality assurance. Now before I explain you, now this whole cloud primarily has a quality hierarchy which says that quality inspection, quality control, quality assurance, and total quality management is like a is like a step by step upcoming area in which you are more and more concerned about the quality, and this whole is a in a cloud with some basic Garvin's quality parameters with customers preferences which are quite dynamic in nature and that do change from time to time. Of course, technological developments are the major part which can make or mar a product. The product life cycle is totally dependent on the technological developments in the field, and we are all controlled by the government or the industry regulations. So in this case, of course, the government and the industry regulations, and apart from that, the ISO regulations or the ISO standards. So when I talk about say quality control, so we have been talking about the quality control in robotic system. I have shown you one example also, but apart from that, we have been talking in this, and of course, no product can be made unless you have some say quality control system embedded in your manufacturing process and in your say supply chain, because quality control is something which can be done before the say actual production. It can be done during the production, or even it can be done after the production. The purpose of quality control or the objective of quality control is to control the quality in terms of the parameters, or in terms of the fundamentals that are given to you. Say for example, if I talk about any conventional product, so if you are manufacturing as per the specifications, you are primarily controlling the quality. That control of quality can be through the controlling the say control quality of the raw material. It can be through use of some control charts, or maybe it can be through the fundamental of your acceptance level. Fine. Now, if this is quality control, then what is quality assurance? If I say in robotic system, quality control is the utmost requirement that it is being done. But then what is quality assurance? Quality assurance is altogether a different philosophy. It's a different concept. Quality assurance primarily talks about that you are assuring a customer, and that customer can be inside the organization also. You are trying to ensure that whatever you are manufacturing is primarily of quality. So that means it says that yes, you close your eyes, purchase a product because I have got so many certificates, and if I got so many certificates, it is imperative that I maintain quality. But then tastes of people are different. Quality or quality assurance is nothing. It's not only that yes, your robotic arm is picking a product and keeping it at the desired location as per the your program, and it is quality. No, quality assurance has got different perspectives, different windows to the different customers, and over a period of time, when there is a competition, that can probably change. So in the robotic system, control you cannot ignore. Yes, it is there, but quality assurance, how much improvement is to be done, that only improves with the period of time. So if I take up this little further, so where does it take me? It takes me probably to some aspects that why quality assurance in robotics. Fulfilling the Garmin standards. Yes, we are trying to fulfill the Garmin standards, and as far as quality is concerned, we are giving good performance. There is a reliability, there is a serviceability, there is a perceived quality. Everything is there. Yes, we are manufacturing as per standards, and there is lot of R&D going around the world, because this is upcoming field. And important part is, if everything is going on like perfectly like this, then what else you want? What are the expectations? So you have to do a revamping on that. You have to look from a different windows. Because if everything goes well, then why there are failures? Why do we want to prevent failures? There are safety aspects, and there are safety standards, and especially in the robotic system, the failures can be extremely expensive and even deadly. So this takes me to one of the accidents that happened, and it became quite famous at that time, which you can see in the screen. Of course, this was a trial one. So the self-driving car, it kills the pedestrian. So a driverless vehicle, which was on a test, so that accident happened. So of course, after that point of time, for a particular period, everything was put on hold. So the point here is that if everything is going well, then still there are some expectations of the customer. Now let me give you an example. You buy a bike, or you buy a car. Okay. Now what are those things that you expect that your car must have? They are innumerable. And if I ask all of you to write down those points, I am 100% sure that your point will not match. Somebody will write at the first place the looks of the car, aesthetics of the car. Somebody might write the power. Somebody might write the fuel efficiency. So what does that mean? That means, as a customer, as a organization, we have different expectations in mind, and it is not possible for a company or for a product to fulfill all the expectations. But yes, the basic purpose for which a product is made, our dimensions are working on that. When I say quality control, so I'm working on the first part of that. So this takes us to the basics of the value engineering. Value engineering, I hope we all have studied this. The basic part is an approach to improve the value or the worth of product and services by using an examination of function. That means there are two types of functions as per the value engineering. One is the primary function, and another is the secondary function. Any product that is manufactured, the prime purpose is that the primary function has to be fulfilled, because secondary function you try as far as to fulfill, because you never know that what are the secondary expectations of a customer. So what does that mean? That means that the money that we are spending on a product is not only on the primary function, but also on the secondary function. Similarly, in a robotic system, this is a standard definition of a robot as per the ISO. It's empty function manipulator designed to move material and so on. Now, are we expecting more? Or if yes, if your robot is fulfilling this particular task, you are satisfied. If you are satisfied as an organization, then why there should be more and more developments? Why should there be more and more innovations? If there was a car 40 years ago, you didn't have much more to expect, because 40 years ago, just before I'm talking, just before the Maruti came, it was only Ambassador and the Fiat model. So there were no expectations. Whatever was available, you have to purchase. But as on date, there are more and more expectations. Similarly, dear colleagues, in the robotic system, means quality as per the definition of the, confirm, say your conformance to specifications as per the primary function. Both these robotic systems are fulfilling. But what about the secondary expectations? Why you should develop more if everything is perfect? So will the factors be different in both the systems? So first is an industrial robot. You have got something programmed and you are, say, working on a car. That is fulfilled. That is okay. So the expectations, the secondary functions, the quality assurance systems in this type of system are also coming up. Maybe you need more effectiveness. You need safety involvement of the people in this. You need less space to be taken. You need less complex system. So for this R&D is going on. But then we should take off a second case, you know, when the robotic system or the robot is nothing but it is a helping robot which is helping you to hold fruit and then you are cutting it. So what does that mean? That it is working like an arm. Now how do the expectations develop when you are working such robots in a personal use? So I think you will agree to that point, that it is not only the primary function, but it is also the secondary function that is important when you are working on the robotic system. So that's why quality assurance is necessary in the robotic systems also. Okay, just a brief on the say classification of the robotic system. If there is any question before that on the fundamental aspects, I can answer that. Sanjeev, are you there? Dr. Goel, Vimalesh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He is ready, sir. He is in the line.
Acha, he's coming up, Dr. Goel?
उनका थोड़ा सा ऑडियो कनेक्ट नहीं हो रहा था अभी.
Acha. So, Sanjeev, can you take up these 2-3 slides on the basic fundamentals of, instead of I just reading?
मैं उसी से करा रहा हूँ, कृष्ण वर्मा से. ठीक 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 है, ठीक ठीक
So,
ठीक है सर. सर अभी सर 2 मिनट में कर.
so if you have any questions, please ask me.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry sir. Sorry. Actually there was some connection problem.
Okay.
So I was just listening and going through the lecture by Professor Grover, and that is putting an emphasis on quality aspects of the robotic system. This is a merging area. I myself actually worked in industrial engineering department, Swenson School, USA, and this I can surely say that this quality aspects of robotic system is the new emerging area, and even they are working on that, how to maintain a quality. This is at this particular juncture of this PPT, sir has asked me to classify the robotic systems. So basically, the robotic systems can be classified into 3 types: industrial and non-industrial, type of use, and applications. So next slide. So type of robots, we have pre-programmed robots, operate in a controlled environment where they do simple monotonous tasks. An example of a pre-programmed robot would be a mechanical arm or an automotive assembly line. So already in the previous lecture, it was told to you that we can program a robotic arm to move on a particular path. So once your robotic arm is trained, is taught to move over that particular path, so then you need not to have a human interaction with the robotic arm. Every time, once you feed the particular program, the robotic arm move to that path and will perform the intended functions. So those robotic systems are known as pre-programmed robots. The next is humanoid robots that look like or mimic human behavior, like running, jumping, carrying objects, and are sometimes designed to look like us, even having human faces and expressions. So you might have seen those kind of robots uh, where they are just looking like a human. They have sensors. They can work according to the sensors, because now there is a lot of research is going on the sensor side. So even now, with the sensors put on our mind, we can control the movement of any car without touching it, toy car. So that those kind of robots are known as a humanoid robots. Next slide, please. Next slide. Assistive robotics, an area of robotics that deals with utilizing robots as tools rather than task-based autonomous systems. The use of robotic as assistive tool requires a special set of metrics that rather than the sole use of the conventional task completion time metric. For example, in case of developing a prosthetic arm, right? So basically, when we are talking about assistive robotic system, one thing is that we have task-based robots, which we have discussed in the previous slide, where the robotic systems are pre-programmed robots. So those robots work on a pre-programmed thing and they will move on a particular path. But over here in assistive robotic systems, they will be treated as a tool for enhancing the human capability. Likewise, we have developed a prosthetic arm where it can perform intended functions which we are thinking to perform with the human arm. So those kind of robotic systems are known as assistive robotic systems, right? Next slide, sir. Autonomous robots. They are designed to carry out tasks in open environment that do not require human supervision. So autonomous robots, you can think of robotic systems where like one thing has been put on a mass, and you need not to have any human interaction over there. So you just have pre-programmed the robotic systems, and those have been put on the mass, and they are moving and performing the intended functions. So those kind of robots are known as autonomous robots, because there is no human interaction over there. Even in a pre-programmed robotic systems, somewhere or sometimes you need to have a human interaction. First they make a program, only then the robotic arm move on that particular path. But in autonomous robot systems, the path is not defined even. So they take their own decisions and they move without any human interaction over there. So those are known as autonomous robots. Then we have a teleoperated robots. Teleoperated robots are robots which work in extreme geographical conditions, in a weather, in circumstances where human interaction is not possible, and you need to, definitely human interaction is there, but you are controlling the robotic systems very far from the actual ground condition where the robotic system is there. Like underwater pipe leaking systems are there, drones are there. So those are known as teleoperated robots. Augmenting robots, again these robots are kind of assistive robots, because they are helping you by enhancing the human capabilities, or a human might have lost some of the limb, and so those can be used as a prosthetic limbs. So those are known as augmenting robots. Next please, sir. So applications, we have robotic systems applications in different fields. Some of the fields where the robotic system is used as a large in manufacturing, in logistics, home, travel, healthcare, in healthcare, robotic system has done wonders. So we are able to perform such operations which were not possible with a human interaction. So over to you, sir.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
quality.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So this was, one of the ways of classifying the robotic system. So I thought that we would involve Dr. Sanjeev in that. Now, each of these robotic system has got some applications, and they can be classified on the basis of the applications also. And each applications has the quality enabled parameters. When you apply a systematic approach in any system, you find that there are certain parameters which help to improve the quality, or which is as a perceived quality which the customers are expecting. So when I talk about any of such systems, sorry. So when I talk about any of such systems, then what I will find is that each of the systems, like in the manufacturing sector, primarily, we are concerned about the performance of the robot. Now, when I talk about the performance of the robot, so all such applications, robots are performing well. It can be welding, it can be painting, assembly, packaging, anything, any work that you are taking from a industrial robot, that is doing very well. So that means the performance part is okay. Second, very important part is the safety aspect. Now, since there are, regulations, that without these safety regulations, without these, there is a specific ISO standard on the safety aspect of robotics. So that we'll talk later on in this part. So those safety aspects are fulfilled for that. Okay. Now, third and fourth part are little different. So dear colleagues, all the robotic standards, all the, this ISO standards of the robotic in the manufacture sector, they talk about the performance of the safety. Probably in any product, we do not talk in the standards about the space and the aesthetics. Now why? Because now this is here I want you to understand the difference between the quality control and quality assurance. Because first two are the dimensions of the quality control. If you want to maintain quality, if you want to control quality, if you want to give the desired results, then yes, performance has to be best and the safety aspects have to be. Now, how much space that robotic system has to take? It is a ongoing process. It's R&D. It's a development. Over a period of time, you will find that you want that less space should be taken by a robot and the work has to be done. So how can there be a standard? So that means similarly the aesthetic aspects, how does it look like? Of course, if it is a humanoid robot, that becomes more important. But otherwise also the aesthetics are important in any type of product. So when I talk about space and aesthetics, continuously developments they carry on, continuously innovations they come up, and then you land up to more and more solutions which are favorable to the quality assurance aspects of this. If it is not like that, then when the competition comes, then there is going to be a lot of parameters which come into picture as a quality assurance. So the competitiveness even in the manufacturing sector of the robotic system is important, which helps us to fulfill our quest for the quality assurance system. So that's it, the quality assurance in the manufacturing sector where you talk about these aspects. But yes, more or less, there is a skew towards the manufacturing as primary application of robotics, and we are contributing more to the use of the stiff materials and rigid systems, rigid actuation system in conventional mechanical design. And this you probably might have seen in many of the robots right on the date also, and right 5 or 10 years ago also. And this design architecture has made human interaction with the robotics inherently safe. So that's why you will find, probably wherever there are robotic systems, even in our institutions, that there is a cage around a robot, or there is a line of demarcation, that you cannot go beyond this point. And it's a common practice in industrial setting also to isolate the human and the robot workspaces. Okay, so this is how the concept of collaborative robots have come. Because on the factory floor, they perform functions as car painting, welding, and assembly work. So cobots, which are, it's like a short form of collaborative robots, and there is always a question that how do you name them as a collaborative robots. So so that the traditional caged robot at auto factory, it is becoming obsolete. Since we are working as a our knowledge enhancement, so I thought I will show you something about this collaborative robots also, unless we all sit together again. So when you talk about the cobots or the collaborative robots, so depending on the application, or the humans and cobots can work together with a varied degree of proximity. They can be as close as possible within the safety aspects. But yes, one of the important part is the C in this collaboration, which can result in, I mean, they can result in the, say, coexistence. They work in the adjacent space without safety fencing, but they do not share a common workspace and work independently of one another on different tasks. So I will just show you an example also how they are working, together also, but and differently also. Similarly, the cooperation is there in the human robot cooperation. Humans and robots work in the same workspace. They work alternatively on a different task within a process. So that means there is no direct interaction, but just one by one they work and then they interact a shared workspace in as a collaborative effort. Say for example, the robot passes something to the human operator, or they may simultaneously perform different tasks on a same workpiece. Just as an example, I had 2 3 examples, but I would like to show only one of them to you, which should make your knowledge enhancement some interesting facts. Are you able to see? Are you able to see this video?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Then I will start. Just a 2-minute video. Sorry. Okay, so this is how there is a collaboration between the human being and the robots, and of course over a period of time, quality assurance parameters they come up in everything. Now, similarly, moving from the manufacturing robots to the social robots, we are now let us see what are the parameters in this. We are of course performance is everywhere, so we are concerned about the performance. We are concerned about the anthropomorphism. We are concerned about the likability, the perceived intelligence, and the error-free or the mistake, accepting capacity of a robot. Now, these types of robots you will normally find, at the front desk, you know, or maybe something like which you've already seen in the previous years when some of the companies are making advertisements to the social robots. But yes, the quality concept in this says that the quality control parameter is of course performance also, and some part of the anthropomorphism and the perceived intelligence also. Now why? Because they come under the primary function of these types of robots. If we talk about a manufacturing robot, primary function is performance, whereas this, as the name suggests, there is something that yes, it should look like a, or it should have some perceived characteristics like a human being also. So that anthropomorphism is another part of the primary function of this. But then always there is a question: how much? Now that how much is a term which takes us to the subjective aspects of the quality assurance systems, and that's why we say that it depends on the expectations of the customer, which of course go on changing with the time as dynamic they are, and of course with the technological developments. So before I take you back to some more social robots, so this is one of the one of the very famous. So Sophia is a social humanoid robot which was developed in February 2016, and I think you might have seen uh, some many their videos on the YouTube also regarding when this it came to India also at some institution, and even in the IIT Mumbai, and maybe some more institution. So this is what is are the expectations from a social robot. And there is a paper, very the name is very nice, to err is robot. So it's not that to err is human, to err is robot, how human assess and act towards erroneous social robots. And not taking much towards social robots, I think you can have details on your own. But yes, they are essentially the mobile machines that exhibit social behavior. That means they can recognize, they can even assist their owners, even engaging in the say conversation. And of course, AI has made all this possible. There are many social robots, so I'm not going to tell you all about them. Just to show you, Sophia, you've already seen. It's a social humanoid, and then there are some other notable social robots also by the name of Asimo, Honda, Casper, and Paper is another example, developed by the Aldebaran Robotics in June 2014. Now is another programmable humanoid. So likewise, there are many social robots which are there, and the most important of them is that they look very attractive when they perform the functions. So this is a lot of study has been done. You can take up as a special area that what is the requirement and one aspects have been covered in the social robots. But yes, we will focus ourselves on the quality assurance parameters in this. Similarly, the robots assisting the old people. Now, when you want to develop robots for the old people, you must understand their problems. What are the problem areas? Of course, social isolation is one of the parts. When the old people, they have to live, maybe alone, or maybe not the whole day they are interacting with the family. There is a dependent living. There is a some sort of physical or the cognitive impairments can be there over a period of time with old age. Mobility problems, poor health monitoring, lack of recreation, reminding problems. dementia and problems like that, and fall problems. So based on all these problems that can be there, you can have various types of robots which are assisting the old people. They can be companion robots, telepresence robots, manipulator service robots, and of course all these domestic robots, health monitoring, which can of course work with all other people also, but just especially if you talk about the robots assisting the old people. Now when we are switching from the robots in the manufacturing sector to the say social robots or the humanoid robots, and when you come to the robots assisting the old people, you will find that the amount of aspects of the primary function expectation and the secondary function expectation in such types of robots is going increasing. So when you talk about a this type of robot which is assisting the old people, or maybe medical robots, then you will find that the parameters by the virtue of which the customers define the quality are more and more varied. The expectations are different from different types of windows. So you cannot have a standalone SOPs, or say standalone points, which will define that just if the robot clears this test, then it is okay, you did not do anything else. So the purpose is that the quality assurance aspects might not have erupted as on date to the extent that they have erupted in the other say products, other conventional products, because there is not much of the awareness, use, and competition in these types of robots. If they are there, then it's okay. They are sufficient. So how many are there? That I think all of us know. And this paper I could find the effectiveness of various robotic technologies in assisting old adults, where a lot of details were there, and you can always refer to that. So the next step to this quality assurance parameters is there. Now if you move on to the medical robots, again there are two types of aspects. One is the performance and one is the perceived functions. So when I say that a robotic assisted surgery, so of course the performance is important, then the speed is important, agility is important, strength is important, everything is important. That's okay. But when you talk about the perceived functions, which helps us to make more and more R&D efforts, you say surgery is done with precision, you know, smaller incisions, decreased blood loss, quicker healing time, and less pain. Now, can you quantify these parameters? No. Why? Because because all these parameters mean different thing to different people. So somebody pain is less, somebody pain is more. Some doctor may say that okay, this type of this small blood loss is okay. Somebody might say no, it's not okay. So that means depending upon the uh, say the you can say the customer, or depending upon the party who is using it. It can be hospital, it can be doctor, it can be a group of doctors, it can be a patient. So everyone has got different perceived functions. The expectations are different. So that's why again the quality assurance is to be given that yes, as per the standard practices, as per the standard survey, this is giving you the best results. So you can carry on with this. But then those results also change with time. As I told you, there is a dynamism, and due to these dynamic conditions, due to these expectations, due to the technological developments, these things go on changing. So you see, there is a lot of scope of work in the holistic concept of quality assurance also, and also in the independent robots. You have to collaborate with the doctors when you're talking about the medical robots. Okay. So this all leads us to the standardization. And when you talk about standardization, of course, as I told you, that you are talking about the primary functions. You are talking about the performance. You are talking about the safety, and the standardization is of course with the ISO as in the case of the other, products or the processes. So the ISO standards concerning the robots, I will just give you an overview of this. So ISO, all of you know, is something International Organization for Standardization. It's a worldwide federation of national standards organization, and standards concerning robotics are prepared by a technical committee. So all, primarily all standards are by some technical committees, but for robotics it is technical committee 299. So if you want to go to more details, you can go to this website of ISO.org, and this International Organization for Standard, which is I think well known to all of you. But yes, there is always a question. A question must come to your mind when you are talking to the students also in class. Then that why this International Organization for Standardization is called ISO and it is not called iOS. You're getting my point. International Organization for Standardization, it is not called iOS, but it is called ISO. Just think over this point. Okay. So ISO is a World Federation of National Standard Bodies, ISO member bodies, and in our country we are working under the umbrella of BIS, that is the Bureau of Indian Standards, and likewise all countries have their own national standards, and the global umbrella is ISO, and this is through the technical committees, and each member body interested in a subject for which technical committee has been established has the right to be represented on that committee, and India is part of that. Okay, so the safety standardization is very important issue in all these technical committees on 99, and various safety standards have been developed for the robotic system by the name of ISO 10218, 10218-2, and 15066, as well as for the service sectors, that is 13482. And other things they include is the apart from the performance are also covered in these standards. I think there is a list of total 23 parts in that technical committee 299. One of them is ISO 8373, which was developed in 2012, which talks about the robotic and robotic devices, which is a vocabulary. Now, very interestingly, I don't know how much of you are aware of that there are ISO standards for vocabulary also, that the definitions also. So if I define quality, then I refer to the ISO definition also. If I define what is a robot, I have to refer to this. So this standard was developed by ISO in 2021, and currently it is under review by the name of robots and robotic devices. Similarly, there is a standard on the safety aspects, as I told you. This is by the name of 20218, part 1 and part 2. So these are two different standards for the safety aspects. Similarly, there is a standard for the collaborative robots also, which we have just seen. So robots and the robotic devices in the collaborative robots, which is by the number of 15066-2016, and this has been confirmed in 2019 also. So it's the latest one. Similarly, one of the standards is 13482, which has been confirmed in 2020, is for the robots and the robotic devices safety requirements for the personal care robots. So likewise, each of the standards you find there are they have got some particular objective, and only they are working in that area. And if you see a typical standard like this, you will find a lot of details in this. So even if you are not a technical expert in developing standards, if you just refer to these standards, so I think surely you are going to have some idea on this. Similarly, ISO 9263 is about the manipulating industrial robots, their performance criteria, and the basic safety and essential performance of the medical robot. So likewise, there are so many standards. So our purpose is not to study these standards, but our purpose is to talk about the quality assurance. So I thought that instead of going through all these standards, I will show you 1, 2, 3 sample pages of one of the standards, which is for the personal care robots. Now just see how the things are being covered in this. So this standard, the cost of this online standard is about 15,000 rupees approximately. Of course, it was not in Indian currency, so I made it approximate analysis. Uh, it was confirmed in 2020. Confirmed in 2020 means the robots, the standard was developed in 2014, and again it was revisited in the year 2020. So you can say it is it has been changed or it has been confirmed in the latest one, that is 2020. Now see what is the coverage. So when you talk about these personal care robots, or the mobile servant robots, or the physical assistant robots, or the personal care robots, the coverage, you see, it is covering the significant hazards and describes how to deal with them for each personal care robot. And it is limited only to the earthbound robots. See the difference. And robots, this standard does not apply to robots that are traveling faster than 20 kilometers per hour. This standard does not apply to robotic toys. This standard does not apply to waterborne robots and the flying robots. You see, like the medical robots. So you see, even the military robots are exempted from these standards. You see that each of these standard is so particular that when you go in the manufacturing line and you when to have to deal with these standards, so then all these the minor aspects you have to take care in this. So this is just a sample. Each of these standards of the ISO, it covers something like this. There is a scope, there is a normative reference, terms and conditions, then all the say actual parameters starting from the general onwards. Say for example, what are the hazards due to the robot shape, you know, and what are the hazards due to emissions, robot stopping, how it should stop, and what are the various hazards due to all other aspects. So these are the contents of this type of ISO standard, and similarly there are contents for the similar type of all the standards. So much detailing is given that it's altogether again a different field to study these standards. Fine. So this was to give an overview that how all these standards are there and how do they look like. So before I think we come to the concluding part of this, I had some statistics to show you. I thought they're quite interesting. Now this is something dealing with the robot density. So there are in Europe almost 114 units per 10,000 employees in manufacturing industry. India has got only 3 robots for every 10,000 workers, whereas China has got 68 and US has got 189 robots for 10,000 workers. So that's why the figure is so low that's why the secondary functions are going to take some time in the quality assurance parameters. And 3,412 new industrial robots were installed in India in 2017, with an increase of 30%. Earlier it was 2626 that were installed in 2017, 2016, and this is as per the IFR report. So more details can be had in this. And also according to IFR, the study of world robotics. So the numbers are going to increase by this number by the end of 2021. So as per whatever is their estimate. But yes, the use of the cobots is quite low as on date also. It's coming as per their study. It's only about 3.24% only. So these are some of the standards, and all these can be had on this sites of the IFR. In 2005, 90% of all robots were in automotive sectors. So most of the robots you find earlier within the automotive industries only. And a study of 2019 says that 14 years later, the number has dipped to less than 50%. Okay. And when you're adopting robots, automotive has got 30%, and then there are electronics and so many areas are there, and these are the sectors which are booming: the service sector robots, the household robots, and the personal care robots. You see that Earlier, it was the part was skewed one more towards the automotive or the manufacturing sector, and slowly, these are becoming more famous in the other areas also. Fine. So all these details can be had on this. There is a for the standardization. This is the site iso.org, and for International Federation of Robot, you will end up to many sites like this, IFR. Okay. So this is, I think, all from my side. I wanted to add up a new topic to this robotic system, and hopefully it was a value addition. But yes, this will continue. The pursuit to quality is a never-ending process, right? So I welcome discussions. You are all experts, and let us see how we can understand this area of quality assurance in robotics, and how you people who are the some people of you might be doing research in the area, or some might want to do. So you are always welcome to do research in this area. There is a lot of scope in this. Even those people who've already done their PhD or doing this, I think this is the area. You find that over the years, much of the things are to be done. Okay. So thank you so much. I have got 15 more minutes, and we can have a discussion before we start.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and blessing us with such a great knowledge on the quality and robotics. So, participants, if you have any questions, then please feel free to ask a question. You can use your chat box also.
Sir, which software you are using for making a programming for robots, sir?
I am not
Can you
using
mention?
software. I am not programming a robot. I am working in the area of quality assurance in the robots with my colleague Sanjeev Goel. So probably we are the area we are talking about is the how you can incorporate the quality assurance concepts in this. I hope some of you are doing working in the area of systems and quality assurance, or some of you might have worked in this area. So I have felt that there is a good chance, there is a good scope of embedding the system away in the core area, away from the core area.
Sir, what are the quality checks we have to consider while installing a robot?
See, the quality checks are a parameter of the quality control. So all those safety aspects as per the standards, as per the SOPs, are to be taken care by the organization that is installing a robot. But when we are talking about the quality assurance, then it is apart from those checks, it is apart from those standard SOPs, what you expect that yes, this could also be done. So the work of quality assurance embedding in the robotic system starts from where their SOPs end. So if you talk about installing a robot, of course, installing a robot is not a small thing. So that all the SOPs are being followed and all the safety aspects are being followed. But beyond that, what you think is what you will expect in the next model, the safety aspects or the expectations of a customer. Say for example, I gave you example of a cage system. I gave you example for a something like a demarcation. Now artificial intelligence is also coming into picture in the safety aspects, so that over a period of time you will not be allowed to enter that space which is harmful to you. Maybe there is a siren system, there is a light system is already there. So apart from SOPs, we start the quality assurance systems.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you very much all the participants, and thank you Grover sir for sharing your knowledge on this topic. Thank you all.